Not by accident, not by weakness, by design. This isn't just a story about betrayal. This is about strategy, control, and a woman who refused to stay conquered. Karen Carter thought she married her partner. Turns out, she married her handler. It started with a phone call, the kind that doesn't just change your day, it changes everything. A crisp autumn afternoon, Seabrook, a quiet coastal town. Karen was at her desk, surrounded by sketches, chasing deadlines for her freelance design projects, when her phone buzzed. Unknown number, Horizon Creative Agency. Strange, she answered. Mrs. Carter? This is Daniel Reynolds from Horizon Creative. I just wanted to confirm. Your husband called yesterday to decline the senior creative director role on your behalf. Silence. Her heart stopped. I'm sorry. What? He said you both agreed the role would be too demanding. Given your personal priorities, he also recommended we consider Laura Matthews instead. Laura Matthews. The name hit like ice water down her spine. William's coworker, his work-late companion, his just a friend. Karen ended the call in slow motion, hands numb, stomach hollow. Yesterday, 3 p.m., while she was volunteering at the animal shelter, William had been quietly detonating her career. Not an accident, not a misunderstanding, a move. Strategic, targeted. Final. The drive home was a blur. Every conversation replayed, itself now like evidence. The gentle concerns about her stress levels, the subtle guilt trips about work-life balance, the sudden push for joint bank accounts, the way he accidentally forgot to give her messages from potential clients. It wasn't love. It was management. She didn't marry a husband. She married her saboteur. When Karen walked through the front door, her hands weren't shaking anymore. She was past that. She found William in the kitchen, phone to his ear, pacing, calm, powerful. Like always, until he saw her. Karen, he greeted smoothly, pocketing his phone. You're home early. That voice, that mask, not today. I got a call, she said quietly, like loading a weapon. From Horizon Creative. For the first time, a flicker. His eyes. Quick calculation. The predator assessing damage control. Horizon? His tone stayed light. Why would they be calling you? Still playing dumb. She smiled. Small, cold. To congratulate me on a job offer. Pause. One you declined, without my knowledge. Now his mask cracked. Only for a second. Karen, he began, leaning into that faux concern. We talked about this. Your stress. The panic attacks. She cut him dead. One panic attack. After working 72 hours straight for a client you told me to drop. And you used it as ammunition to dismantle my career. Silence. You didn't protect me, William. You erased me. And now, she saw him clearly. Not a partner. Not a mistake. An enemy. This wasn't going to be a conversation. This was going to be war. She didn't flinch. Not in the kitchen. Not when the truth finally broke the surface like oil slick on water. Karen stood, there, motionless, watching William with a quiet, surgical clarity. The weight of his betrayal pressed in on her ribs like a vice. But beneath that pressure, something colder, something stronger, was forming. Resolve. Not the fragile resolve of heartbreak, but the deliberate, calculating kind forged. In silence, she would play the long game, not because she was powerless, because patience, weaponized, is devastating. If William believed he'd won, let him. Let him relax. Let him gloat. Let him sleep beside the very storm gathering in plain sight. That night, as William's breathing deepened beside her in bed, Karen's mind was already moving at speed, mapping the exits, marking the traps, laying the groundwork. Every empire needs a war room. Hers began inside the guest bedroom closet. A plain storage box labeled winter linens became her vault. Inside it, printouts of damning emails, screenshots of text threads, copies of financial statements, handwritten notes cataloging every manipulation, every quiet cruelty. Cover story? Flawless. "I'm reorganizing the house files," she told William, casually over breakfast. His eyes barely lifted from his phone. "Sure, whatever. That's your thing." Perfect. Arrogance was always easier to manage than suspicion. Step 1 was control. She opened a safety deposit box under her sister's address at a tiny credit union far from William's world. Into it went small stashes of cash. Slow, deliberate. Savings from grocery change, online freelancing, and discreet sales of unused household items. Quiet money. Clean escape. Step 2 was freedom. She waited until William vanished into his weekend golf obsession before reaching out to Lily, her former creative director, over coffee miles from their neighborhood. "I've been thinking of taking on." "Small projects again," Karen said, as though the idea was fragile. Lily's reaction was instant. "Karen, people still ask about you. You're a legend in this industry." For the first time in months, maybe years, Karen felt something stir beneath the wreckage of her life. Hope. Not the naive kind, the weaponized kind. Soon, quiet lunches and brief coffee meetings became routine, always timed to Williams. Standing appointments, always clean, always invisible. Meanwhile, at home, the evidence grew. Budgets, spreadsheets, password-protected files masked as household records. She tracked every financial account tied to William, including several he thought were well hidden. By the time he slid the divorce papers across the table, Karen barely blinked. She signed. Carefully. Deliberately. With a microscopic variation. In her signature, enough to claim duress later if necessary. William didn't notice. Of course he didn't. Arrogance is always blind. He filed the paperwork immediately. 90 days. That's all the clock gave them before it was over. But 90 days is an eternity for a woman rebuilding a kingdom. Karen rehearsed exit routes. Practiced. Public transport to her sister's home. Secured every vital document off-site. Night after night, she endured his presence in bed. His silence, his indifference. Knowing that every passing hour brought her closer to freedom. "You're handling this better than I expected," William remarked one evening, eyes glued to his laptop. Karen gave him a hollow smile. "What choice do I have?" He nodded approvingly. "That's smart. Clean breaks are best." "Oh, William, you really have no idea." 3 weeks later, her phone buzzed with a message that made her heart lurch. Daniel Reynolds, Horizon Creative Agency. Meeting. Tomorrow. Horizon application. Urgent opportunity. The moment she'd been waiting for. 30 days left on the divorce clock. William and his mistress Serena already planning their fresh start in Melbourne. Timing? Impeccable. Karen responded immediately. Calm. Professional. Surgical. The meeting was set for 10 a.m. at a downtown cafe, coinciding perfectly with William's executive team meeting. The next morning, dressed in sharp professional black, a dress he hadn't seen in months, Karen casually told him she had a book club meeting. He didn't even look up. As his car disappeared down the street, Karen ordered a rideshare, not risking her own car anywhere near her real moves. Daniel was already at the cafe when she arrived. Beside him sat an older man she didn't recognize. "This is Martin Xiao," Daniel said, smiling. "Martin's very interested in what you bring to the table." Daniel's handshake was steady, not warm, not cold, but firm. Karen met it without hesitation, her portfolio settling on the table, like a loaded weapon. "What I'm about to disclose," she began, calm, deliberate, goes far beyond a sabotage job application. She paused, letting that land. I've documented coordinated professional sabotage, financial coercion, identity fraud. 4. The next 40 minutes, Karen dismantled William's carefully manufactured image piece by piece. She walked them through damning emails, evidence of William's collusion with Serena to edge her out of her own career, legal documents he'd tricked her into signing under false pretenses, financial records mapping out a calculated effort to engineer her dependence. This isn't a messy divorce, Karen concluded flatly. This is corporate-grade fraud executed through personal proximity, and your firm was unknowingly weaponized as part of it. Daniel and Martin exchanged a loaded glance. We suspected something was off, Daniel admitted quietly. But not like this. Martin leaned forward. What exactly are you asking from us, Ms. Carter? Karen didn't flinch. A role. Senior level. Strategic oversight. Flexible enough for me to handle the litigation that's coming, but visible enough to send a message. In return, exclusive access to her evidence, proof of how their hiring process had been manipulated, and safeguards to prevent it from happening again. It didn't take long. Martin slid an offer across the table. Director of Strategic Initiatives. 2 full levels above the position William had tried to steal out from under her. The compensation package alone would sever any financial hold William had left. And one more thing, Karen added as she rose. Complete confidentiality until I've finished executing my plan. William can't know about this meeting. Daniel didn't hesitate. You have our word. By the time Karen stepped out of that coffee shop, the chessboard was set. Her exit wouldn't be quiet. It would be surgical. The following days were theater. A perfect performance of resignation, disinterest, and routine. William never suspected a thing. The night before their divorce was set to finalize, and 24 hours before William and Serena's one-way flight to Melbourne, Karen made her move. William had a client dinner that night, predictably smug. Predictably late. Perfect. While he was out, Karen's crew, discreetly hired by her sister, cleared the house with military precision. Not just clothes or keepsakes. They retrieved originals of critical documents, evidence files, even old. Journals William had once mocked as worthless. She moved through each room like she was erasing herself, not in retreat, but in complete, merciless reclamation. At exactly 11 p.m., when William's dinner was winding down, she sent a single text, check your email, goodbye, William. Attached were 3 files. Her legal counterfiling, complete with evidence of his fraud, a cease and desist from her attorney regarding his misuse of her credentials, a press release from Horizon Creative Agency announcing her new role, Director of Strategic Initiatives. Subject line, you underestimated me. The reaction was instant. His calls came in rapid fire, first furious, then pleading, then panicked. Karen didn't answer a single one. She simply forwarded them all to her attorney. By 8 a.m. the next morning, Karen walked through the doors of Horizon's headquarters, not as a victim, but as a force. By noon, her attorney had filed an emergency injunction freezing William's assets and blocking his departure from the country. By 2 p.m., William's family attorney, the same man who'd once drafted a suffocating prenup, was requesting a settlement conference. He's unraveling, her attorney told her. The evidence you gathered, it's devastating. His firm's ethics board has already launched an investigation. In court, William's empire of lies collapsed in real time. Karen's attorney laid it all bare: the manipulation, the fraud, the financial strangulation, emails, financial trails, recorded calls. A strategy executed over months with the precision of a wiretap operation. By the time Karen took the stand, the room was dead silent. She didn't rage, she didn't cry. She told the truth, plain, sharp, undeniable. How William isolated her. How he dismantled her career. How he staged his perfect exit, with Serena waiting in the wings. When she spoke of the moment, she realized just how deeply he'd underestimated her. Her voice didn't break. It cut. By the end, William didn't fight. He surrendered. The eye. House, sold. Karen's equity restored. The hidden accounts? Divided. His Melbourne transfer? Cancelled, pending the outcome of his firm's ethics investigation. Serena? Gone. Vanished like smoke from a ruined fire. Karen didn't just walk away. She walked taller, unbent, unbroken, and absolutely untouchable. As Karen pressed her signature, steady, deliberate, onto the final divorce papers, there were no edits this time, no hesitations, no compromises. Just closure, the weight of a brutal year, the lies, the betrayal, the courtroom battles, lifted off her like a skin she no longer needed. Her attorney glanced up. "What now, Karen?" She didn't hesitate. Karen's eyes drifted toward the bold marketing. Campaign spread across her desk, her first major project as director already making waves in the industry. "Simple," she said. "I build. On my terms. With no one to silence my voice ever again." That night, standing barefoot on the balcony of her new apartment, city lights shimmering beneath a sunset smeared like fire across the sky, Karen allowed herself a rare thing: stillness, reflection. The betrayal had almost broken her. Almost. But the woman standing here tonight wasn't the same one William had underestimated. That version of her was gone, burned away in the fire he lit. What remained was steel. What remained was hers. 2 months after the explosive settlement hearing, Karen sat in her sleek new office, high above the city William once thought he ruled. She scanned the finalized settlement agreement. Every line a quiet victory. The house, sold. Full equity restored. The hidden accounts, exposed, divided. William's prized overseas transfer, cancelled. His reputation, shattered. And Serena, gone. Disappeared into obscurity, leaving behind only regret and the wreckage of poor choices. Karen didn't gloat. She didn't need to. Real power doesn't announce itself. It simply moves forward. Weeks later, glass of wine in hand, Karen stood again on that balcony, but this time, not looking back. She thought of those who stood with her in the shadows, of her fight. Danielle, who reminded her she was more than what broke her. Lily, who made her laugh when it hurt to breathe. Her sister, who stayed when others disappeared. Their voices became the chorus in her mind, not William's. Karen didn't just survive. She rebuilt. She reclaimed her life. Brick by brick, rule by rule, entirely her own. And as the city pulsed below, alive, chaotic, unapologetic, so was she. The pain didn't own her. The past didn't cage her. This was her life now, unwritten, uncompromising, unstoppable. Karen smiled. Not the polite smile she once wore to keep the peace, but the fierce, quiet smile of a woman who knows exactly who she is. And finally, that was enough, more than enough. Sometimes the greatest revenge is simply becoming untouchable.